What is going on, Carolina fans? My name's Blake Kennedy, and I'm back with another episode of the Real Carolina Football Show. And I know it's been a little bit since I've made a video, so I'm excited to get back here and get something out to you. And if you like this channel, I really appreciate any feedback, whatever I can receive to make the channel better. Obviously, I'm just getting this whole thing going. So hopefully I can continue with the videos this season and enhance the channel for next year. As Carolina fans, we're always thinking about next year. We're never I quit or I give up type of team and type of fan base. So I'm not going to do that on this channel as well. So getting back into it here, we got LSU this week. It's been a rocky road with a 3-2 start. I'm not gonna say I told you so, but if you look at my first video when we were came out and we were ranked 13th, it was obviously too high, and we lost too much to have those expectations. I think we had most of the kind of Carolina media, Carolina fans, maybe half of us we're talking about college football playoff, and we're not totally done out of that, but that is very far fetched at this point. So I'm just going to do a quick little breakdown of how we can kind of continue to get better. Got a good win against Kentucky at home 2 weeks ago in a bye week, which was nice. Kind of a get right game. As much as we won by, and it was a big margin, the game was a little bit closer than even we saw. Getting two defensive scores, it's going to be hard to beat anybody when that happens. But it was good to see the defense playing faster, getting after the quarterback, and getting Kentucky in those situations that we want to kind of unleash those defensive ends and that defensive line that has really, really gotten better. I think that's the biggest step that the team's made through 5 games is obviously the defensive ends are pretty good. Brian Thomas Jr., Dylan Stewart, Desmond Umanzulu's look good, and Jateus Gear's really taken a step forward as well. So those 4 guys, I feel like we're pretty good at that position, especially in passing situations. It was nice to see Dylan play the run a little bit more in this game. Obviously, inside is where all the hype and all the worry has been, and it's been it's been pretty good overall. I think inside they've played pretty good. Obviously, Nick Barrett has been a strong contributor, very active in there. Goodwine's been solid. Dindy has brought a little something. And then some of the other guys that weren't as highly recruited, like Pikes and number 90 as well, has been playing pretty good. So they've gotten some good contributions, and they've acquired some depth inside and on the defensive line. The linebackers are getting better, and I think that's the key to getting to those, good down and distances for our defense where they can make plays and create turnovers, get sacks and things like that, is those linebackers have to continue to come on. They made the switch. Obviously, you can see I'm just going to, play the Kentucky game while I'm talking here, and you can kind of see what I'm talking about. Obviously, Kentucky scored on their first drive that didn't look great, but they started number 17 instead of number 7, Murphy, and I've been saying that since probably the first game that Murphy is not playing to the standard and the consistency that we would like to see. They've since, they've started 17. Justin O, who's playing a lot better. Is he playing perfect? No, but he does play a little bit faster than Murphy's been playing. And since Murphy has been coming off the bench, I think it's been the last couple games, he's actually played better. Because I think he's more of a splash player rather than a consistent, all the time linebacker. And it's nice to see him get some good run, and when he's fresh and the opposing offense, has been on the field a little bit and they're a little gassed, his speed can really present some problems. But I feel like the defense overall has really improved and become a little bit more consistent. I would love to see them play the run a little bit better. But overall, I think, you're going to get Judge back. He played a little bit in the Kentucky game with a brace on his leg. Hopefully, he'll be full go in this game. You get him back, and then you can rotate a little bit better at corner and not play Miles Norwood quite as much. And he's had some good moments, but he's definitely struggled in some areas. But as far as the offense goes, I thought they looked better against Kentucky. Obviously, for whatever reason, the run game is just not as cohesive as it should be. The offensive line has done well in spots, and then sometimes running backs don't run the right way. Sometimes offensive linemen don't know the play. It has to do with coaching as well, as far as not knowing and everybody being on the same page. We've still got those instances where, you're wondering why running backs are stopping in certain situations when they have good plays called and they have open holes and they kind of hit the hole and then hesitate. And this allows the defense to catch up when they should just kind of be running. Just run as fast as you can this way, and maybe you'll break a tackle, maybe you'll break an arm tackle because you're running full speed rather than overcutting, overanalyzing, playing slow is what I would call it. I would like to see us just be a little bit more decisive in the way the running backs are running. Good to see running back Matt Fuller get in the game and play. I like the way he runs so far. He's a compact back that packs a little bit of a punch. And it was nice to see him get in the game and really get into a rhythm into the running game. I feel like so far as feel for the blocking schemes and feel for the way the runs are being called, that was the best I see him. Now, did he break 10, 12, 15 yarders? No, but he was pounding for 3 and 6 yards pretty consistently. I know it was late in the game and we had a big lead, but I do like the way his running style was of being kind of a compact back, and he's not overanalyzing the run, which was nice to see. As far as the passing game goes, it looked, okay. It looked better. It was nice to see Lenoris kind of get on the edge a little bit more often, moving him off platform. He does well in those situations, getting his legs activated. Sometimes when you stick him in the pocket there, he typically, his feet start moving a little too much when he gets off that first read. Definitely into the second and third read, he starts to get really, really uncomfortable. So it was nice to see him get off platform, have the ability to decide if he wants to run, kind of open up away from the line of scrimmage. And typically his feet actually slow down in those situations because they're supposed to be active. Whereas in the pocket, you're supposed to have active feet, but it's so much more subtle. There's smaller steps. There's little moves that you make within the pocket, and he typically is uncomfortable, and his feet just take too big of steps, too fast of steps, too much activity in the pocket. So it was nice to see him get out of the pocket, and I think that if we continue to do that and get him out there and really put pressure on these defenses to respect his ability to run, it'll open up even more some of these receivers. Obviously, Vendravius Jacobs is playing at a high level right now, which is great to see. I see why he's getting a lot of targets and he's catching the football. I haven't seen him drop a pass. I've seen him make some really 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 tough catches. So that's great to see, and I look for him to continue to get targets opposite of Nick Harbor. People kind of come into the game and worry about Nick's speed, and it gives Jacobs a chance to work the middle of the field and get in those zones and just get a little less covers than Nick. Obviously, we've got to give Nick more opportunities, in my opinion, because he is playing at a pretty high level right now, in my opinion. I'd like to see, obviously, Brian Rowe looks good, and that's one of the reasons that, my prediction of seeing Mazeo Bennett, have a big season this year is not happening. I still think he's a really good player, and just kind of transitioning into a topic that is a real issue for this team, in my opinion, as you could see Attaway right there. This is going back to the running backs. This is what I'm talking about, and I'll just kind of point this out while I'm going. But you can see here, you got a really nice hole right here. Good blocking here. All we want to do is go as fast as we can to this 3 right here, as fast as we can. But he just kind of overcuts, slows down, hesitates, and he just kind of falls down. If he runs as fast as he can at this 3, you never know, this pursuit that comes from inside that he cuts off of, they might just dive for you and kind of arm tackle you and you break it. But he just, he's got to run through number 3 to get to the 30. And that's just what I kind of mentioned as far as the running backs over analyzing stuff. But going back to Mazeo and an interesting development that we had happen, I think it was yesterday, late in the day. Michael Smith is going to transfer. Huge loss, in my opinion, for Carolina, and I don't blame him one bit. They haven't utilized him much this season. He was a very promising player that I thought would be a huge weapon in the offense this year, and for some reason, there's been a couple guys that haven't done that. I know I had Mazeo as kind of the players to watch going into the season, the breakout player that I look forward most to the plan. Michael Smith was my number 2, probably, to be honest. I thought he was going to be a real weapon for us. And it all started back in the spring, I guess, when he didn't play. He was hurt throughout the spring, so he kind of got lost on the depth chart there. You had a transfer, Jordan Dingle, come in, who's looked good. I feel like Dingle's looked really good in some cases. But I really thought Michael was a difference maker, and I think he will be for a different program now. And I don't blame him for quitting in the middle of the season. I'm sure that he went to the coaches and say, hey, this isn't working out. I would like to redshirt this year. And they said no. They probably said no because we need you. You can't redshirt. Well, then I'm just going to transfer because I'm not giving away my my eligibility of this year. I'm just going to redshirt, and I'm still going to have, I'm just going into next season as a sophomore. So I don't blame him one bit. And if Mazeo doesn't get involved, I could see him doing the same thing. And I think that would be a mistake because I do like the receivers that they recruited, and I see why that they are playing. But you don't want to set a precedent of recruiting high caliber players like Michael Smith and Mazeo Bennett and just kind of forgetting about them and letting them kind of get away from you. I don't think that Michael Smith was a diehard Gamecock in his case. I mean, he's from Savannah, and he might have had ties here. I don't know the whole story. You'd have to ask the recruiting services, the real professionals in those things that follow those things. But great get for Carolina. Probably the second best player, behind Dylan Stewart in that class. So it's very, very interesting that has happened, and you kind of let that happen, because Michael Smith is a very good player. He's going to be a good player for somebody else. 6'6", 250 pounds, can really run with the ball, can go up and get the ball, and they have not utilized him one bit. Had a great freshman year, and it's tough to see him go, but this is where you get to that point in the season where players really start to think about what am I doing here? Why am I not getting targets? Can I get targets somewhere else? And the answer is yes for Michael Smith. He is a real high caliber tight end. So it's tough to see him go, but I don't blame him one bit. I think the coaching staff needs to do better at carving out roles for certain players, especially offensively. And I hope Mazio's not going to go, but I could definitely see him transferring after this year to a team like Tennessee or something like that, where he's going to get more balls his way. But he is a diehard Gamecock. Excuse me. He is a diehard Gamecock, so it might be a little bit more for him to leave, and hopefully we get him involved a little bit. Michael Smith wasn't playing as much as Mazio is. Mazio's playing more. He's just not getting targeted enough. So hopefully they can get him going a little bit. And I think this is a critical point in the season. 3-2 here, going to Death Valley. Got a really, really tough road ahead. You got Oklahoma the following week. I know their quarterback's out, but they are a very good football team, undefeated team. Going to be a top 10 team coming into Williams-Brice after the LSU game. So you're at a point now where you need a big win. You really do, and this is your opportunity. LSU, I kind of said going into the season that they would be a little more down than they were last year even. I don't think when you're like a fifth-year quarterback, I don't think that you're that much better than from when you were a fourth year. And even pretty much everybody, if you're not a freshman, if you're a sophomore and you started your freshman year, or you're a junior and you started your first year starting was a sophomore, you don't get that much better, especially from your senior year to your super senior year. You don't get any better. So Nussmeier's a good player. It maybe they're saying has a little bit of an injury, but he's a good player that he's going to end up being a good college quarterback, and when it's all said and done. But I don't think he's a huge difference maker. If we can stop the run, get our pass rush going a little bit, I think we can have a chance in the game. If we can kind of control have a good start to the game, run the ball a little bit every once in a while, and Lenoris, take care of the football, I think we'll have a decent chance to beat this team. I think they're a little down, and but they are off a bye as well, and they do get their running back. So it's going to be a very tough win. I've never picked us in Death Valley ever, and I will never do that. After that debacle back in 2012, when we kind of had him, it seemed like, and Connor Shaw threw a kind of a bad interception to Eric Reed, and we ended up losing that football game late. It's a different kind of place. It's extremely hard to keep your composure up there. So I hope Lenoris can really shine, because I feel like he's been a little, my expectations for Lenoris are extremely high. If there was one thing that I expected for this team going into the year, I expected him to be great. And for him to be great and take that next step, you have to take the games over. And he's just not right there yet. Is he a first-round draft pick? I think he can be, but I just right now, he is not there. And I'm worried that all this, hype going into the season that is still there, because, you see this play right here going left, flips it there and gets a big play. His ceiling is just off the charts. I mean, you can't have much higher of a ceiling than Lenoris Sellers has, but he's still learning. I just said Matt Fuller. All right, let's just show this real quick because it's kind of ridiculous. Matt Fuller here, I was saying he runs hard, but good Lord. Yeah, I said he didn't have any 10 to 12, 15-yard runs. This should have been one. We can't tackle ourselves. It's a perfect read here. We get the defensive end up the field. This is the little flip play out here. He reads it perfectly. And, if we just run as fast as we can right here, it's an easy 10 yards, maybe a touchdown. And we kind of trip over our own guy. And that's just kind of how it's been in the running game for Carolina. It's just super hard. Everything's really hard. Nothing's really that open. Even on that play, perfect read by Sellers. He still has to throw his body around to get that first down on his own read. But as far as Lenoris and where he's at right now, I really think if he did come back, that we would have a really good football team next year. When he doesn't come back, when he declares for the draft, it is all bets are off. We could see it depends on what our record is and how we finish this season, but we could have a big number of players leave. And it started with Michael Smith. It's going to be, if we mess around and go 7-5, 8-4, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. But if we don't make a bowl game this year and Lenoris leaves to go to the draft, it is going to be very, very difficult to hold on to some of these players, such as, Jair Johnson, such as Dylan Stewart, really, really good football players. Bakari Swain could leave. I could see him leave because he's constantly, for some reason, in the doghouse there. But it could look a lot different. So I think this week is extremely important. Maybe you don't win the game, but you need to go out there and show that you're making tremendous progress against LSU, and make sure that we're getting better on the lines of scrimmage, especially on the offensive line. That not just we're getting better on offensive line, like the players are better, but the coaches are coaching better and they're developing those offensive linemen. Now, just about every year, Beamer's offensive lines get better throughout the year. So I really look for after this bye week. I'm not giving up on this team. I really think they can go 7-5, 8-4, but it's going to be rugged. It's going to be like you've got to win one of these games that seem damn near impossible. I think this week is an opportunity, and the more you let it kind of spiral, the harder it is going to be to kind of grasp it and get it back. So you need a big win. And LSU seems like the right time. It's kind of hard to imagine that they would lose 2 in a row after losing to Ole Miss on the road. You feel like they come back home. They've only lost 1 game this season. They were kind of a favorite in the SEC, so it is going to be a very difficult win, and you almost have to play a perfect game in this game to get this win. So hopefully they can do it. Hopefully they can continue to get right and maybe establish a little run. That's really what they need. They need some pop from the running game, and that'll get Lenoris going. Maybe Nick will get free on some longer passes, and they can continue to get better. So that's where I'm going to leave it. I think that we have a chance to win this game, but it's going to be difficult. Can't wait to watch them. Can't wait to root on the Gamecocks. Love doing these little videos. I know I don't do much of them, but I'm going to continue to do more. I'm going to find time, and I'm going to do less editing and just throw stuff out there. If y'all like it, Give me a like. If you could subscribe to the channel, that'd be great. I really appreciate any feedback I can receive. And can't wait for Saturday, and go Gamecocks.